Yeah, I was talking about prisons, yeah, what prisons are like. And the worst prisons really are the prisons with hospital wings. You know, if a prison's got a hospital in it, you could be in a little bit of trouble because they've got, they've got people there that are supposed to be prison officers, but become medical staff, yeah, and they're the ones you've got to be careful of because they come over and they will give you medication that knock your spark out, mate. You know what I mean? They will give you injections that will just make you a zombie. Anyway, so I went to Brixton, yeah, which has got a hospital wing in it, and the prison was absolutely packed. We was in a room there, the room, 20 people in that room, and it's like you're there, could be there at 5 o'clock and can be there till 11 o'clock in the evening, yeah. And this particular time it was like that, and it made me feel sick because people were smoking, and it's too much, you know, and it's no air in there. You're just going mad, you know. And anyway, they shipped us to the hospital wing. And you think, oh, what worst wing you can possibly go to is the hospital wing, you know what I mean? Goes in a room, maybe 15 people in there. This is like maybe half 12, quarter to 1 at night, you know. And the screws come in, move you around. There's one guy in there causing plenty of aggro. He doesn't want to be there. He's just someone. It's just a pain, you know. And the screws come in, and he's gone into one. They shut the door, come back, team-handed, come back with a medical screw, and they give him some medication, and they take him away. They take him away. I didn't see this guy for about, what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, but in a bad way, yeah. So whilst I'm in the wing, I've been in the wing about, well, I don't know, 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. And never noticed it before, never seen him before. I looked up and I thought, nah, that can't be. And it was Lenny McLean. You know, he still looks a lump. He still looks a bit of a lump, but he was walking down the landing. He just looked in a bad way. You know, he didn't look like, you know, someone that was, you know, someone who was a proper person. Yeah, he didn't look like that at all. He looked like in a terrible state. So I looked up and I said, "Shay, what then?" And you know, he just like looked down at me and just didn't take no notice. He just walked on, had a plate with him and some bits and pieces. And I left it at that. Yeah, put me in a single cell. You know, I suppose the reason they put you in a single cell sometimes they think, well, it's not best to put you in a cell 2 or 3 up because you don't know who's in that cell. It could be a complete nut, you know what I mean? You know, so even though I'm a nut, but you know what I mean? But anyway, exercise time, I go and exercise, and as I went out there, I see Lenny McLean sitting on a bench, sitting on their bench with someone else. Oh, and I thought, well, you know, I couldn't believe it when I looked at him, you know. I walked round once, stopped where he was sitting, and I said, all right then. And I looked at him and he's like, he just looked a mess, mate. He looked a mess. He looked like they was giving him medication, and it was like, just made him, I don't know, made him zonked out, you know. Maybe, you know, I should imagine they know who he is. I should imagine on his record he's got who he is, you know. Violent man, big man, whatever. And I don't think, personally, that I know it was up for a bad charge. I think it was up for a murder charge. Maybe he asked for the medication. I don't know. But whatever he asked for made him a zombie. His teeth were in a bad way. His teeth were all black down the bottom. He looked as if like he was just, you know, just eating 24/7. He just looked like he was chewing, and that's what he was doing, you know. And when I said hello, Lenny, and he just all that, and I walked away, and there was this guy, like Greek guy, Italian guy, whatever he was, yeah, Turkish or whatever, But he was giving Lenny grief, you know. Lenny was sitting there and the guy was, you know, I don't know who the guy was or what the guy was. If Lenny had given him a bit of grief in the hospital wing before they give Lenny medication and, you know, maybe give the guy a clump, I don't know, yeah, but the guy was giving him grief. And I didn't like it, you know what I mean? I walked round and bump. I'd give the guy a little dig up the ribs, hit the floor. He was in a bad way. And I thought to myself, and then they dragged him away. They never see me do it. They just dragged this guy away. And I thought to myself, doesn't realise this guy, how lucky he was, you know, that Lenny was donked out on medication, you know, because this guy, Lenny would have ripped it apart, you know what I mean? Lenny was just like, this guy, to Lenny would have been no one, you know what I mean? I was quite surprised that Lenny was like that, you know, and then I didn't see Lenny no more after that. And they shipped me to another wing, and then they shipped me to the scrubs, yeah. But to see Lenny like that shocked me, yeah. I should think when he got acquitted, I don't know if he went back doing what he usually does on the door, or he went straight into the film game. I think he went straight into the film game, but he was a bad. It must have took him months, maybe a year, to get off of what they put him on, the medication they put him on. I should imagine his body wanted it all the time, was screaming out for the same thing, because what they do, I've seen people, you know, really in a bad way, man. When all the prisons I've been to, most of them actually, that I've been to, have always had a hospital wing. And, you know, they've got to have really on the way, you know. But some have got a big hospital wing and some have got a little one where it's just medication. Albany, I see a lot of people going down to the medication room. It wasn't a hospital, it was just a med place where all the meds come in and they just give people medication, yeah. I didn't see, it wasn't a hospital wing. Parkhurst has got a massive hospital in there. I've been there, you know, I know exactly how it is. In there, you've got screws in there that would they're just animals, yeah. They're people that all they want to do is harm you. You've got to remember, we're supposed to be that big, tough, hard man, yeah. You know, and when you get into prison, what you forget that you're no one, really. You're a name and you're a number. They don't care who you are, what you are, because in there you're just a name and a number. You could be anybody, but a name and a number, that's to them, that's all you are, yeah? And they treat you the same way, you know, but obviously, you know, there's a lot of people I know that had plenty of money that got a lot of things from screws, you know, but there was ones in there that don't want that. They just want to be bad people. They just want to hurt you, you know. The worst place I've been for that is the scrubs. The scrubs is really, really bad. They've not got a hospital wing as such in the scrubs. They've got medication places where you get your meds from, but not a hospital wing. They've got a place next door, Hammersmith Hospital in Duquesne Road. That's where they take you. But they do, because there's a medication place, they do come in and give people meds, bad meds, yeah. I've seen people cry, big men, big, powerful men. You know, they just zonk you out, they come in and just give you medication, and it's something that gets into your system and you become a cabbage. You know, they do it, I mean, what gives them the rights to do it is because you're in prison and you're no one. You're nobody, you know. A lot of people forget, you know, that it doesn't matter who you are, how big, tough, strong, powerful you are, mate. When you get in there, you become no one. You're like everybody else, mate. You're like everybody else, you know, name, number, and that's it. And they can come in your cell 3, 4, 5-handed and they just set about you, mate. And then they come in, they give you a little jab of something, of medication, and that's it. And then they just do what they want to do to you, or they shoot you with a gun like they did me. They don't get nowhere near you. They just pump it, bump, shoot you with drugs. Oh, sorry, no, I didn't want to say drugs, but medication. They shoot you with meds, and you're out. You don't know where you are. You don't know what day it is or what. Yeah. But they do it. You know, they've done it to me. They've done it. You know, they've done it to me many a time, and you know, it's painful, very, very painful. But they don't care about that. They don't care about who you are. You know. Years ago, when I first went into prison, Screws then used to wear, how can I say, used to have dark blue uniforms, like black uniforms. But they were black really, but really dark blue. You know, well, black, say black, and also a dark blue shirt and with a blue tie. You know, and now it's a bit more fashionable. They had the hats that come down over there like that. You know, some you didn't care the hats like that. They didn't care. The ones with the hats down like that were ex-military, like that. But the ones I met when I was first went in the scrubs as a bolster boy, mate, there were screws in there that, you know, they were just animals. They you know, looked at you as just meat for them to bash up. And they come in your cell and bash you up, mate. They didn't care who you was. If you thought you was a big, tough, strong man, they'd say, yeah, you ain't beating us, mate. We're tougher than you. They come in your cell 3-4-handed, mate, and bash you up. There's not a thing you can do about it. You got ones that go, yeah, whatever, come out of the cell later on. I've done it a few times myself, come out your cell, bang, hit a screw, and then they, well, mate, worst thing you could ever do. Worst thing you could ever do. I found it out, mate, you know what I mean? And, you know, they just give you this and give you that jab, give you this jab, and make you an absolute zombie, yeah? You know what I mean? And the medication they give you, mate, is something that you've never, ever heard of before. And that's what they do. They love to give you it. They love to give you it, and they love to bash you up. You know, more so in my times than what it is now. But I know a few people that they have absolutely nearly killed me, for one. You know, there are a lot of faces. Roy Shaw, they nearly killed him. Lenny McLean, they made him, well, it was a matter of time. If he hadn't got out when he got out, I think he wouldn't have lasted. He looked very weak, Lenny. He looked like someone that prison was not his thing, yeah? You can be a big, tough man outside. As soon as you get in them places, you're no one. Remember that. You're no one. You're nothing. You know, especially in my days. My days are big faces, you know, but they knew whether to they knew when to shut up. You know, you can, you know, you got to remember, you've got one screw that maybe, you know, when I was a kid in the scrubs, you got one screw that can have a right fight. That having you take his hat off, come in your cell and have a right fight with you. You know what I mean? You know, but then you got the other screws that just team-handed, come in your cell and just, you know, and say about you. And what are you going to do? You know, there's a lot of gangsters think they're gangsters, but they are gangsters. But when they get in prison, they're no ones. There's no ones. No one. Frankie Fraser, they tried to kill him, done his leg, done everything. They tried to kill him, mate. But it's one guy that didn't give in to the system, you know, and they thought to themselves, well, this guy is going to go, you know, this guy is going to wind up being killed. We're going to kill him, you know what I mean? Because he's doing too much. He's coming out 24/7 bashing people up, you know. And in the end, Frank just give up, mate. He didn't give up, but he didn't give up to give up. He didn't get. He wasn't as bad as what he was. He just give up to the system, mate. You can't. I mean, come on. If you go in prison doing a silly sentence and 10 years later you're still doing a bigger sentence, you know what I mean? What's the point? You got to give up, you know. But you know, I've seen guys in there, mate. Just you know, and everyone says the same thing. Yeah, when I get out, I'm coming back. They never do. They never do. If you've done 16, 20, 15 years in prison or 10 years in prison and say you're going to come back, and you go, so what's the point? What's the point of going back and getting another big lump? What's the point? You know, they never go back. There's only one that I know of, was Frank Fraser. Frankie Fraser's the only man I know to go back like that, where he hung the dog up, didn't he? He killed the governor's dog in the Wormwood prison. That's the only man I know that's really gone back. You've got a lot to say they're going to go back, and they never do. I'm the same. I'm going to go back, and you know, you never do. You never do. You just never do. You know what I mean? It's not, you know, even though I used to live near the Scrubs, yeah, and I was go down Labatt Grove, Notting Hill, a lot. There's a lot of people who down there. So when you go by Duquesne Road, by the Scrubs, walk in or by bus or whatever you go by past there, you see screws, and you think, look at them. There's the ones that's bashed me up. That's the one that done this. That's the one. What are you going to do? It's not a point. No point. You know what I mean? There's no point. And they really know that, yeah? They really know that. You know, I mean, how many people who listen to my channel have been in prison and be really, really bashed up by screws and never gone back? A lot of them say they do, but they don't. They don't. You know, you might go and bash hit a screw in prison like I did, and then you wind up, they can kill you easy. It's quite easy. It's not hard for them. It's not hard for them. They can, you know, I mean, my best mate, Peter Kelly, when I was away, you know, what they done to him, I've already told you before, but what they done to him, he was in Wandsworth prison, mate. You know, in Wandsworth, you can't play games, mate. You can't play games in Wandsworth. You know, he'd had enough of these screws. He hated them. Every morning, do them with something. In the end, they had enough of it, and they took him down the block, but bashed him up all the way there, really bashed him up, and put him in a cell. But Peter, being Peter, he didn't give in. He just didn't give in. And one morning he come out and done him again with the exact same thing that he'd done him before with. They bashed him up something terrible, give him a few medications, and the next day the number one chief come in, Kelly, walks in to see him. He said, hello, Mr. Kelly, I'm whatever they say to him, or his number, or whatever. Kelly, something number, that's what they do. I'm the chief. And they said, but when Peter told me, I went, leave off. Yeah, the chief said to him, Peter Kelly, this is the last warning I'm giving you. If you keep doing this to my officers in the morning, the easiest thing for me to do is get the medication, is get the hospital governor of the hospital, because you've got your chiefs in the hospitals, the governors of the hospitals, come over and certify you dead. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is for me to do that, yeah? So I'm warning you now. If it happens again, that will happen to you. Peter, they reckon, Peter Kelly said to me that the whole of his insides come out. He had to get on the pot as quick as possible, and he just give up. He went, poor. And the chief said to him, I'm going to ship you out. Give me a week, you're gone. You know what I mean? You know, how would you feel with that? How would you feel with that? You know, and that's what happens, especially in places like Wandsworth, Brixton, the Scrubs, Pentonville, Holloway. A lot of them prisons now are closed, but they're all really, really old Victorian prisons, yeah? You know what I mean? And they got that old ways. You know, you look at them, you walk by it, but not so much now, because now it's different. You got human rights and all that crap, yeah? But before, you never had none of that. You never had none of that, mate. You know, when I was in Ashford as a kid, you know, even when I was in the Scrubs as a Bolster boy and the Scrubs as a YP, in them days, Screws had keys to the door. Screws had keys to the door, night screws. And they come round with slippers on so you don't hear them. Especially Ashford remand. As a kid, they used to come in and bash you up. And really bash you up. Really bad. Night screws come in your cell and bash you up and do other things to you and abuse you, yeah? And take liberties with you. People don't understand that people walk by these prisons or drive by these prisons and don't realise that is a different world. That is a different world. That's different, you know. You go by it. It's not part of where we come from. It's different. It's so different, mate. You get in there and they can do whatever they like. They can do whatever they like to you, you know, and people outside don't realise. There's people in there now as I'm talking to you, yeah, down the block. I don't know what it's like. Obviously, I'm not quite sure what it's like today, but I can't see it being that much different, really. Even though the screws can't be as bad as what it was in my time. But there's people in the block down there, they're getting bashed up. And they're getting medication. You wouldn't believe, you know what I mean? And there's nothing you can do. There's big walls around this place. Massive walls and barbed wire. And you ain't allowed, you can't get in there. It's a big gate. You ain't getting in there, mate. They do whatever they like to you. And you ain't got a chance of any help. You know, you ain't got no chance of any help. I've seen people go on visits, closed visits, you know, and you look at them and you think, God, look at the state of him. And people that can't get a visit, where they go to the people and say, look, he's been shipped out. He ain't been shipped out, he's there. But they don't want the family to see him, what he's like. Where he's been really in such a bad way. It's happened. I've seen so much of it in there. Bang, bang, I can go on and on and on. You know, bang, bang, good morning.